So we just pulled up to Adriana's place. She's a friend of a friend who's traveled a lot. She's been to all kinds of different countries through FSU's study abroad program. So she seems pretty worldly, and I'm excited to get to ask her some questions and get to know her. Hi, it's good
Hi,
to see you.
come in.
Thanks. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
So Adriana, where have you traveled outside of the United States?
Well, my family is from Colombia, so I go to Colombia several times a year. And then aside from that, I studied abroad in London, where I traveled to a couple other countries. I traveled to France and Ireland and Amsterdam.
That's awesome. Did traveling to these countries outside the United States make you appreciate America, or did they kind of make you embarrassed to be American at once?
I definitely got different vibes from different countries. When I was in France, and people found out that I was an American, they were very rude. There was a couple instances where they would just yell at you and they say that you were cutting them in line, or they would just hear your accent and immediately be rude to you. So it definitely made me realize that I felt that they were a little more pompous there, and it kind of was like, wow, I appreciate America, where the part that I'm from at least is more laid back and more accepting. But there were some places like Ireland I loved and thought it was so beautiful, and Amsterdam was so environmentally friendly. It was kind of like very city-like, but there were no taxis. Everyone was riding their bicycles and everything, and that kind of made me like it a little more than America because it was so green and eco-friendly, and everyone was very, very educated there.
Wow, that's wonderful. Did you travel with people you knew, or did you kind of go by yourself?
When I go to Colombia, I travel with my immediate family, so just my mom and my dad and my sister. But when I studied abroad, I actually went in not knowing anyone.
What was that like? Did you make any friends? Was it hard to make friends?
No, it was very easy to make friends. Everyone is there for the same reason, and it was just mostly Florida State students and then a couple UF, but we're all in a flat together. We were in a giant apartment complex with 8 of us, so you get along really easily. Everyone is really, really close to you, and I even made friends waiting for the airplane and sitting on the airplane.
Do you still keep in contact with any of those people?
Yeah, definitely. I've actually hung out with a bunch of them before. Sometimes we have little get-together dinners and stuff like that, and a lot of them I ended up being really, really close with and still keep in touch with.
That's wonderful. So do you want to talk about maybe the culture of one of these countries? I know you kind of talked about Amsterdam and how they're eco-friendly.
Well, I think that the country that has the biggest difference in culture is definitely Colombia. There's so many different parts of it. In Barranquilla, it's very city-like, so it's a lot of taxis and a lot of tall buildings like New York City. But there's so many shifts, kind of like America, where every different place is so different. Cartagena is very resort-like. There's a lot of beaches and a lot of oceans, and it's more luxurious. So that's where you can do all your excursions, like jet skiing and stuff like that. And it's actually crazy because the weather is so different in so many different places. So in Barranquilla it can be very hot, where in Bogota in the mountains you could be snowboarding at the same time of year. Yeah, so it's kind of like America, but it's just really, really cool how all the different places are so different. All of them are so different from America.
What would you say is the hardest thing transitioning from cultures, when you're in America going to Colombia?
I think one thing that's very, very hard is the culture shock when it comes to poverty. There's a huge gap where it's not there's a middle class like there is in America. You're either very well off or you are very, very poor. And the airport ride is far from where my family lives, and you travel through places where you'll see people living in little huts and selling mangoes on the side of the road, and you know that they don't have a lot of money, and that's definitely really, really hard to accept. It's something that you don't think about day by day, and you're kind of in your own world, and then you see these people and the way that they're living, and it's definitely upsetting, and it is a big culture shock.
How does that, do you think, affected you? How does that make you feel?
I think it really just makes you think about the world. A lot of times when I was in America, I just wasn't thinking beyond my local area. You kind of just get absorbed in the moment in your town and your state, and you don't even really think domestically to a large scale. So then when you go somewhere like that and you see how different their culture is and the people that are struggling, we have maids at our house, and the maids are people that had absolutely nothing before. They had no home and they didn't know how to survive, and I felt bad at first and was wow, I can't believe we have maids, but you're actually saving them because they had nowhere to sleep. We give them a place to sleep and a TV and meals, and I know that that does happen in America, but it definitely didn't happen where I was raised locally.
Mhm.
So it's crazy to like actually be like seeing that and be like open to that and realizing that that's something that happens.
Absolutely. So, during all these travels, did you ever feel like an outsider?
I think at different countries you definitely feel welcomed or you feel like an outsider. I think a lot of it had to do with the language that they spoke. In places like England and Ireland, I definitely didn't feel like an outsider just because I could understand what they were saying and I felt like people were more welcoming. But in places like France, I definitely got that just because it's harder. You can't read the signs, you can't really speak to cab drivers or waiters or waitresses, and even just like the small talk passing by when it's not a one-on-one conversation is still really hard just because you don't understand them at all and most people don't speak English.
Gotcha. That had to be hard. How do you think overall your experience traveling to different countries has shaped you as a person?
I think studying abroad definitely really changed me. I think it was good that I went not knowing anyone, and it just helps you kind of be more inclusive. You like go to college kind of with a set group, especially if you're in different organizations, and this kind of just opens you up to be more accepting to everyone. There were people that are on this FSU campus now that are students here that I probably would have never spoken to if I didn't study abroad with them, and then I had to live with them for weeks and weeks. So it definitely opens your eyes and just makes you a more inclusive and welcoming person just because you like learn such amazing things and such personal things about everyone, and it really just makes you appreciate everyone as an individual.
That's awesome.